Welcome to the Living Ageless and Bold podcast. Each episode, I bring you amazing women who inspire, educate, and share their experiences and journeys along the way. So grab a glass of wine or a cup of coffee, find a cozy spot, and let's relax and have some fun hearing what can be accomplished after 55. Hey everybody, welcome to this episode of Living Ageless and Bold. Today we're going to talk about all things happiness and happiness from within, how we need to find true joy within ourselves, that we can't rely on other people. So my guest today is Tami Muller, who's also one of my clients, and I've had just such a pleasure getting to know her and learning so many amazing things that she does. So she's a certified happiness instructor. We're going to talk about how that is even a thing, how you can get that and how amazing that is. And then she is the author of the book, #1 Amazon bestseller in her category, How to Be on a Diet for 45 Years and Never Be Thin, Practical Guide to Freedom and Happiness. So welcome, Tami.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me, Christina.
So I want to talk about the happiness from within, but we've got to get to the point. And I've read your book, and we need to go back in time to talk about how you got to the point where you could be happy and you could be. So let's talk about your journey a little bit. And you go as far back in the book when you were young with your sister and a brother, and even the male, female, different views of food and what we look like in the mirror and in a bathing suit. So when did all of this start happening for you?
I was always aware, there's the story in the book about my trial to go to ballet, and the ballet teacher told my mother that I should go to piano. And I think this is the first time that I realized, because all my friends were dancing, and this is the first time I realized that maybe something was not good enough. Maybe something was not perfect. And I was probably 6 or 7. And ever since then, I think I always thought that I was chubby. I was like, I didn't feel, that I had this flat tummy to go with bathing suit. Then, we invented this thing that you only lie down or you stand up on the beach. You can never sit, never. And
right.
So
I read that in the book, and you're right. You can lay your stomach flat, or you can suck it in when you're standing up. So.
But then when I told this to a very good friend of mine, she told me, what? There's no way. We, the flat-chested ones, we never, ever lied, only sitting. So now we understand that everybody has a problem with their self-image since we're kids. We can, listen, I laugh about it a lot, and the book is full of humor. It's funny, but it's serious also, and I think we all have this thing, that when we were kids, somebody shattered our dream, somebody bursted our balloon, somebody made us think that maybe we're not good enough, or maybe we're not this enough, or we're not that enough. And we carry it with us. I'm 61 and it's still there. And I remember the feeling.
Well, and I think with young girls too, especially, and I went through it and my daughter went through it, and we call it the quote unquote, the chubby phase. And I remember and again, I remember myself, and I remember my daughter just being so upset about it. And I said, no, just wait. And literally she sprouted and she grew 5 inches, and all that chubby went, and she was gorgeous in a bikini. But I think we always, even after you sprout, you still have that chubby phase that you always feel you have.
But I always said that what stood between me and happiness, eternal happiness, was 20 pounds. But I realized during the years that everyone has their own version of that 20 pounds, that we all believe that when we get somewhere, we will be happier. Now, I'll be happy when I find love. I'll be happy when I make enough money. I'll be happy when I retire. I'm always going to be, there's something waiting for me always to be happy. And then what happens? We just get old, and nothing happens. So, this dress that I kept in my closet for my 30, 40, 50, 60 birthday, it's still there. And I think we need to realize that we're already happy. We're already happy. And we have everything we need. Yeah, we can always want for more. And this is the concept, Christina, of active acceptance. Meaning, and I'm not body positive. I wish I were. I wish I could say, oh, I love myself just the way I am. Perfect. I'm not there yet. And I think most people are not there yet. But
And
it's
Tami,
okay.
I was say, I know I've told you this story, but there was a time in my 30s and I thought, oh my gosh, I look terrible. And I look at that picture of me in a bathing suit in my 30s. I'm like, I want that back and I want to appreciate that. And then you get to your 40s and you're like, oh, I look terrible. And then you're in your 50s and you look at yourself in your 40s, you're like, wow, I looked great.
I know.
So if only I had in my 30s owned it and said, God, you look good in this bathing suit. But you're right. There's always something kind of nagging.
And I think that it's okay to still want to change. It's okay to realize I'm happy right now. I don't think anybody's going to love me more if I'm 20 pounds lighter. I get it. I'm very lucky. I have a very good life. At the same time, I still believe that I want to be a little skinnier. That's fine. I can do whatever I need to try and achieve it. And again, if we go from the weight to everybody's 20 pounds, so, if you think that you're going to be much happier if you finally get married, then first of all, realize that you can be happy without it. And at the same time, go on dates, look your best, make the effort. It's okay to still want it. This is a concept of active acceptance that I think gives, it's legit to still want to make the change. It's okay, even though the world is falling apart. And I hear it from a lot of my friends. The world is falling apart. I'm from Israel. Look what's happening in the world. And I still think, oh my God, I picked out yesterday, or oh my God, I gained weight. And how dare I think about these stupid little, things when the world is falling apart? Because we are, and it's okay. That's, I think, what the book is trying to say. It's okay to still want to make a change. It's okay to still want to lose weight, to still want to find love, to still want to make money. But realize that your happiness is not depending on it. That's it.
And you talk about that in the book when you did lose the 20 pounds.
Yeah.
So talk about that, because you've done every diet known to man. But when you finally got in your jeans, you finally got to the point where you thought was the perfect place. What happened?
Then you want more. You see, this is when you look at people that thought that, oh my God, when I get famous, this is it. I'm going to be really famous. I'm going to be really happy. Or when I finally get to Harvard, this is when I'm really, really going to be happy. And then they get to Harvard or they get famous and they realize it's not enough. Now they want more. This is called hedonic adaptation. We always raise the bar. When I lose the 20 pounds, now I want to do the face. Now I want to do this. Now I want to do that. We always have something. If we believe that our happiness is dependent on anything exterior, we have a problem. If we don't realize that it's inside us, then we're never going to reach the goal. We're always going to change the goal.
So what are some steps that we can take to learn to love ourselves and learn to be happy with who we are right now?
Well, it's not easy. And don't think that I don't have my moments also. Is first of all, is to allow ourselves to feel. It's okay. If we ate that bread, it's okay. If we feel bad, it's okay. If we, Tal Ben Shahar, my mentor and my teacher, he says, give yourself the permission to be human. And I think this is a lot of times that we don't do. And especially the dieters, the constant dieters, we have this little voice in our head that says, oh, you already ate 2 hot dogs on the 4th of July. I might as well. The word I might as well is a problem. It's a problematic one. So first of all, know that it's okay, that life has its ups and downs, and today is like this, tomorrow is going to be like that. It's okay. This is the first thing. And to know that you're not alone. That most of us are in the same boat. We're not alone. We're not the first ones that, that feel bad. We're not the first ones that a friend betrayed us. We're not the first ones to feel, that felt stupid or looked stupid. Everybody goes through that. And when we realize that, I think it's easier. It's easier for ourselves. And to ask yourself, when I am so harsh on myself, would I be so harsh on a very good friend of mine or my daughter? Am I going to tell my daughter or my good friend what I'm telling myself?
That's such a good point, though. That's because I have a daughter, and just the other night, I love ice cream, and I've taken ice cream out for health reasons too, like sugar reasons and things like that. But I just wanted to go to Baskin Robbins and have an ice cream cone of mint chocolate chip, and we got there, and I just felt so guilty. And my husband's like, "Christina, you've exercised today. Like, you stop it." And you're right. I would never say that to my daughter. I don't care what she looks like; she's beautiful. I would never say, "Oh, you went out for ice cream." So that's such a good thing to put in your head, though, that would you say it to your best friend or your daughter or, your niece or whoever that is that you love and is important to you?
And I do suggest, to our listeners, Christine Neff, she's a specialist and an expert on self-compassion. And she's saying all these things. You can just go online and Google her, Christine Neff self-compassion. And she has this little test that you can do to yourself, and then you can see how compassionate are you with yourself. Because we're very compassionate with our friends. We're very compassionate with our family, but we're not with ourselves. We're very harsh, and we're telling you, you'll be nice to yourself. I would tell myself, what a cow. Now, yeah, we do. Would we ever say anything like that to people we love? So first stop and think, would I ever say it? And then understand that everybody goes through those phases and try to practice some self-love and self-compassion, and understand that at the end of the day, I always tell myself, when I'm 85 and I'm going to look back, is this going to be is it that important, really? Probably not. So to get perspective is also a very important thing that you can have in your journey to happiness. People that have perspective and humor are happier.
Humor, for sure. We had a guest on, and you guys can check out her episode, Christine Howard, and she talks about mirroring, where you look in the mirror and you practice self-love. Yeah. To yourself. They're words of affirmation that you give yourself in the mirror, and difficult. It's not an easy thing to look at yourself and say, I love you. And
I know.
So yeah, but
it's
you're
easier.
Right.
It's easier to look at the mirror and say, you know what? I have nice eyes. So find something nice. Yeah, for me, I can't stand in front of the mirror and tell myself I love you. It's not me. But I can definitely say, okay, what do you love? This is positive psychology in a nutshell. Positive psychology says find one thing that is good. I'm not saying that the situation is bad. I understand that. But I can always find one positive thing and choose to focus on it. Same thing with yourself. I'm sure you can look in the mirror and say, oh, you know what? I get a beautiful hair. I get a beautiful skin. We all have something. I get skinny, whatever, legs. So we always have something nice either in ourselves or in the situation. So whenever, and again, I'm trying to go back to the fact that it's not really a diet book. It's about how can we take all these things and bring them to our life. So when we are in a situation that makes us depressed or sad or angry or hurtful, we can always say, oh, you know what, but there must be one little thing that is positive that I can focus on.
And you're right. I the last 10 years, I've worked out a lot and gotten really healthy. And for 57, I think I've got really good legs, but then I'll put on a skirt. I'm like, oh, my legs look good, but my stomach just didn't pooch out a little bit. Like and I'm as guilty as anybody with this. It's been a lifelong struggle. And I loved reading your book for that reason, that like you keep saying, we're not alone. I would guess that just about everybody listening to this, there's nobody who woke up this morning thinking, I'm perfect.
And, and I think that's why I call the book a practical guide to freedom and happiness. Because for me, happiness is freedom. And if you look at the picture that I chose to put here, of taking this, people that order it, I send it with my little scarf that I ordered, like hundreds of scarves that you can put on your head, and you can feel free. It's the freedom, from.
And for people not watching, I want to describe the cover of the book as a woman in a convertible, with her sunglasses on, the top is down, and she's got a scarf on her head, and she's just driving, like blowing in the wind.
Yes, it's freedom. It's when I ask people, what does this picture mean to you? And they all said to me, freedom. And I think that we can always have those little moments even if we can't just leave everything and take a real convertible and go to Italy, we can always go for 10 minutes in our thoughts. We can always go to the beach for a couple of minutes. We can find those couple of minutes that we can set ourselves free. And when we are free from what are they going to say about me? What are people going to think about me? Then the way to happiness is much shorter.
And I don't know, do you practice meditation?
I'm kind of trying, and I'll give you, I'm trying, and every time I sit there with the meditation, I think, oh my God, I didn't do this, I didn't do that, olive oil, I didn't buy, I didn't.
We're so much alike.
My meditation is not a formal one. There are two ways to practice meditation. One is really sit down and do the formal, and the other one is informal. I sit every single morning in my backyard with my cup of coffee, and I look at my mango tree, and I look at my butterflies. This is my meditation. So whatever you do, if you can find, even in a little apartment in Manhattan, if you can find something nice that, you can sit for a couple of minutes and relax, okay? It's okay. It's also some type of a meditation. So again, don't beat yourself up for not succeeding to sit 20 minutes and repeat your mantra. I don't.
Right. Okay, so let's talk about this Happiness Institute and the certification to become a happiness expert.
So there is the Happiness Studies Academy, founded by Dr. Tal Ben-Shahar and his partner Yuval Kutz. They're both partners. And Dr. Tal Ben-Shahar was a professor in Harvard. And when he taught positive psychology and leadership, his course was the most attended in the history of Harvard. And he's teaching now happiness. They had just had the graduation of the first ever master degree in happiness studies in the world in Centenary University in New Jersey.
And what does that entail? Like, to get a master, like what kinds of classes are you taking to get a master's?
I didn't do the master's. I did the certificate.
Yes.
So you can start by certificate in happiness studies, which is 1 year, or you can go to a master degree. And next year they're planning to do a PhD in happiness studies.
But let's talk about what you study. So how do you get a happiness certification?
Well, science of happiness is really a multi-disciplinary science. So you study philosophy, positive psychology, even economy, biology, theology. There are many, many disciplines that add to your happiness. It's not just, hey, think well, think happy, you're going to be happy. It's not any new age. It's science. All those things that we learn are all science-based. So it's a 1 year study, once a week that we did for the certificate in happiness. And if you want, I can later put in the chat, how you can join that. And again,
we'll put it in the show notes. We'll definitely put it in the show notes.
And I highly recommend it. And I remember asking him, why can't I just I'm very fast. I can just do it very, very quickly. Let me finish it in a couple of months. And he said to me, no, you need to do it in a year because it's not only information. It's also transformation. So once you study that and you start practicing all these things, you change. Your family changes. Your life, the people around you change. And when I graduated from the Happiness Studies Academy after I got certified, and we didn't mention anything, but in my previous life, I have a master's degree in business and in economy, and I was in the business world. So when I decided to make the transition and make the change, when I realized that something was missing, that we don't have a networking community. So I decided to create that community, and I founded the Happiness Studies Academy Alumni and Business Club. It's a club, and I was the president for 1 year, and then I stepped down and I wrote my book. But it's still very, very active. Right now we have more than 1,300 members in about, I think, 90 countries around the world. People that take the happiness studies and the science of happiness and want to bring it into action in their communities, in their families, in their countries. We have people from Africa and from China and from Mexico and from Brazil, everywhere. And happiness is an international language. And when you join that, the program, you can become a member of that club. I don't have any interest in that. I mean, I'm not a partner. I'm just a graduate. But I think that when you go and you do it, your life changes because people around you change, because it's happiness is very, people just want to be around you. People want to make the change.
What was your biggest aha during your certification process? Did you ever, you've gone through a lot of things, and was there one course or one segment of the certification that transformed you?
I think my biggest aha moment was when we spoke about the relationship between success and happiness. Because, I always thought that when I get somewhere, when I succeed in something, I'll be happy. That's how we were raised, right? And then we realize, as we spoke before, that when we get to that place, we want more, and it never really is enough. So today we know that the connection between success and happiness is vice versa. Happiness leads to success, not success leads to happiness. And I think this was for me the aha moment. So when I'm happy, I'm going to have better relationship. When I'm happy, I'm going to be healthier. Not when I'm healthy, I'm going to be happy. When I'm happy, I'm going to be healthy. Wow. For me, it was a paradigm shift. And then I realized that there's a science because, I came to that study not because I was not happy. I was always kind of happy and very optimistic person. But I realized that there's a science behind it now, and I can teach it, and I can help others become happier and thus become more successful. And that's what I'm doing. That's why I left everything I did, and I completely changed my career. And that's what I'm doing now. I'm a speaker and I'm a teacher, and I'm giving people those tools to set themselves free and to be happier. And for me, it's a miracle.
It's amazing. And do you look back on your corporate and realize you weren't happy, or was that your stepping stone to get you here?
It was a stepping stone. It's not that I wasn't happy. I was happy, but I always thought that if I do this, if I do that, if I get thinner, if I get more money, or I'll be happier. And I understand it's not. No. And, we miss on so many things, even when we have little kids and it's very difficult, and it's hard. We're waiting for them to grow up already, right? And then they grow up and we miss it. So the understanding of living in the moment.
I was just going to say, appreciating what you have right now. And I've really tried to do that lately. We recently lost my brother-in-law, and he was only 50. And when he was diagnosed, it really, really shocked me into that, and I was able to have conversations with him. Of course, he didn't want to die. He didn't, and to talk about, but it really helped me embrace appreciating when I'm with my kids, not thinking about, oh, what are we going to do next? What are we going to do tonight? But it's like, let's just sit in the moment. My son's coming to town next week for the celebration of life, and my niece's graduation. And it's like, I want to just spend time with him and enjoy the moment, not think about what's next, because we don't know what's next. And, having just gone through this, you don't know what life is going to hand you. And you don't want to look back and say, oh, I wish, what's the saying? There's nobody who is ever on their deathbad who said, oh, I wish I worked harder. I wish I worked another day. It's the relationships. I wish I spent more time.
It's very natural what you say, because most people don't appreciate something until it's taken away from them, or they see somebody else that it's taken away from them. We don't wake up normally, naturally every morning and say, oh, my life is so good, I'm so grateful. This is something we need to practice. And the book has a lot of practice and tools, and
yes.
I have a lot of self-work and even recipes. But one of for me, the lowest hanging fruit, if you want to practice something for happiness, the lowest hanging fruit is gratitude journal.
I was just going to say that. I was literally just going to say that. I love that.
We never even planned. We never even spoke with that before.
No. But to have something next to your bed, and Hoda Kotb, who I interviewed several years ago, but that's one of her practices, is before she goes to bed every night, she writes down 3 things that she's grateful for from that day.
Right.
And it really is life-changing to do that.
Exactly. Why? Why is it so life-changing? First of all, we say 5 things, but if you want to do 3 things, it's fine. And writing it down is perfect. I don't write it down. I do it mentally since I was like really, really young, since I was a kid. And I think when you do that, first of all, you go to sleep feeling really good and positive, and you don't go to sleep thinking, oh my God, I have such a bad day tomorrow. What did I do today? So you have those really nice, good, pleasurable emotions that you go to sleep with. And also during the day, you always wear those pink glasses and you think, instead of looking and thinking of what's wrong in the picture, you're thinking what's working in the picture. And it trains your brain to the positive psychology. And people that are doing it, they call me and they say, my life has changed. So this is something so small. It's 2 minutes, 3 minutes a day, start with that.
And you do have a lot of activities in your book that are easy at the end of the chapter, just really get you to think about.
Right.
And these are little shifts. That's what's so amazing about this. It's just a learning to appreciate what you have and just shifting your mindset just a little bit to go more one direction, go a little more positive than negative. And it's not that hard. Like I read through your book and was like, oh, aha, you're right.
And then you put this book down. So my suggestion is take one thing and make it a habit. Because the problem is that, we have so many aha moments. We go to those retreats and we hear those people that talk and we're like, yeah, I'm going to do it. And then we don't, because it doesn't become a habit. So try to take one little thing from everything that we say in there and do it, and next month come back again and do one more thing, because those tiny little steps at the end of the day, Christina, this is what, it's nothing earth breaking or earth shattering. It's, it's very little things, just like you said, tiny little steps.
Yeah, it's simple. And again, just if nothing else, appreciate when you walk outside on a sunny day, appreciate the sun, smell the flowers, just take a moment for you. I started years ago exercising and in the morning, and now if I don't do it, it messes up my day.
Wow,
because that's my time.
To that point, I still need to get there.
But I appreciate the walk and the air and the just really, and I've got my husband doing it with me. So we kind of have each other to bounce off of, oh, I don't feel like it. Get up, we're going. But just that little bit because of the endorphins and I have bad days. Everybody has bad days. But if you start off being grateful, start off exercising, start off something that makes you feel good, that really kicks off the rest of your day.
Absolutely. And we could talk hours for it. We can talk months about it. We can talk years about it. There's so much. And you do one little thing, that elevates your mood, that helps your relationship with your husband. This is, at the end of the day, this is happiness. Happiness is not something huge. It's those little things that we do.
And enjoying the mint chocolate chip ice cream cone every once in a while.
Christina, come on. I only see you up to here, but you seem so like you can afford at least 2 cones.
But that's a life, like you said this in the book, you kept going back. Oh, let's talk about, you said that with your brother too, just talking about the weight and stuff, that you and your sister had one view and then your brother was totally different.
It's not that we had one view. We had one structure. We both always had to battle, with our weight. He was always skinny, tall and skinny. I really believe that you're born a certain way. You're born, you can change it. Yes, but genetics has a lot to do with everything. Today we know with our health. So yeah, there's epigenetic. We can change. Okay. But people that are born thin, and we need to fight over it. So accept the gifts that you got, say thank you for what you have, and try change what you want to change, but acceptance is one of the biggest things that really contribute to our happiness.
And I love that you have in your club, you said 1,200 members, 93 countries. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
If just to take a step back and process that, and as you said earlier, the way the world is right now, what we could learn from those 1,200 people practicing happiness and joy every day in countries all over the world, if we could just get more of that, we could change the world.
We could. We call it, our tagline for the club was the happiness revolution in action.
In action. Yeah.
It's not enough to talk about it. We need to do things. And we have retreats that we meet in person and we hug And I hug people that their political view is completely different than mine. Okay, that's fine. But we bridge this hatred. We bridge that the divide today with love and with energy. I believe in that.
It's true. It's true. Oh, Tami, so great having you here today. I wrap up every show with the same 2 questions. So what is the greatest thing that you have accomplished since you turned 50?
60, you mean?
Well, yeah, the show's based on 50, but you could, I had someone who was in her 80s. So I said, we could talk 80s, 70s. So you can pick whichever, whatever you want.
So I think really my achievement, I think, is really self-acceptance, self-love, and just relax. It's okay. I'm very happy. I got a beautiful family. My daughter just graduated as a doctor. I have 2, sons. They're all in New York. I'm happily married. Life is good. Life is good. And I think I stopped running on the treadmill. I stopped.
Yeah, that's great. And that's great advice for everybody. And then where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Ooh. Traveling the world with my husband, hopefully, speaking in different places in the world, empowering people. I remember seeing the movie Eat, Love, Pray, and I was thinking, why do I need to get a divorce for that? I can do it with my husband. So yeah, this.
There you go. Oh, Tami, thank you so much. Thank you so much for bringing happiness and joy to the world. And if we can just get one person who listened today to make a little shift and be happy, we've done our job. Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me, Christina. Thank you.
Thank you for listening or for watching this episode of Living Ageless and Bold. If you haven't already, please make sure you hit subscribe. And if you like the episode, I hope that you will give us a great review. You can also head over to livingagelessandbold.com and sign up for information, inspiration, and exclusive opportunities for us, women over 55. Thanks for listening. And remember, no matter what you do, keep living ageless and bold.